I wonder
and that
why
check
he did.
cost him all the money in the pot plus the payoffs he had to make.
C4 folds, C5 folds.
Big sigh from Shakerchi, the kind of sigh when he knows it was his own doing.
There is one thing about Duhamel here. He has shown that he'll 5-bet it with ace-10. So that does, so even though he lost a bit of an aura, as far as people are thinking, wow, he's a great, you know, he's just a great, great player, he still has the bully mentality. The guys are like, oh my God, he 5-bet with ace-10 of spades. Do I really want to 3-bet him weak? I better not.
He's the nutcase. He's a suitcase.
Right, right.
Fruitcake.
Right? They're like, oh my God, this guy has no fear.
What I think is quite funny is I don't think Esfandiari or Trickett has said one word to him about that hand. They just kind of, you know, that sort of thing where you put your head down and don't look at the guy. That's kind of the way they've treated it.
Oh yeah, well, but believe me, they noticed. They noticed. So in their minds, they're like, well, I have to go with ace-queen against him.
6 raises to 10,000, C7 folds, C8 folds.
Raise up to 10.
It is hot in here. Is it just me or is it hot?
It's really hot.
It's
It
kinda
just cooled
hot.
off a little. They just turned on the fan.
Yeah, they're just like now turning it on. Like as of 5
C2
seconds
folds.
ago.
C3 calls.
Jennifer from the small blind in action on Reinkemeier to complete. He will. Or
I don't really have a problem with Tilly calling here with the Jack-9 of diamonds. It's the finals now. I would not have loved that in the point system, but
And flop.
right, it's time to try and make something.
King
Huh?
of spades, 2 of clubs.
it's a regular tournament now. It's just a poker tournament now, you know, and they've all been to final tables. They all know what to do.
Well, if Jennifer leads here, it's going to put it. No, she's checked.
4 checks.
And it's round 2 between Reinkemeier and Duhamel.
6 bets, 13,000.
Yeah, and he has to bet. You know, it looks like a great flop for sevens. King deuce 3. I mean, you know, a good flop for sevens.
Really high pitched. Like the queen.
Reickemeier's thinking, this guy's nuts. Maybe I should just check raise to get it in here with no kicker on my top pair.
No way, no way. Reinkemeier is thinking he could re-raise me with 2 jacks on this flop, so I'm just going to call, I'm just going to call, I'm just going to call. And I hope he doesn't hit his ace or whatever it is, you know?
Walking the dog, is he?
Yeah, I mean, you know, for a lot of reasons, you just, you know.
6 checks. With the ace of hearts.
Not a great card from Reickemeier's perspective.
Well, terrible card because now he's not going to get any value on the river. It's going to go check, check. Might not be a bad time for him to, you know, float 14,000 out there or something, a defensive bet. But I think it goes check, check. Duhamel doesn't have to bet here.
I mean, does he get his opponent off a king, or is that really sort of a narrow idea?
6 bets, 33,000.
Well, he's gone for a big one, Phil.
Wow. Very interesting.
He's a demon, isn't he?
That is a bluff, obviously. I mean, he's not value betting this hand. I mean, he's not betting.
He's turned his hand into a bluff.
Yep. But I don't think he had to, Jesse. It came king deuce 3. Reinkemeier, you know, could have a lot of hands that he could beat. He's in the big blind, you know. Queen 3 suited, queen deuce suited. Pocket 5s, pocket 6s.
And is Reinkemeier seriously thinking about calling? Because this is the exact hand that Duhamel's bet is trying to get to go away.
Reinkemeier has a tough call here. I mean, it's just tough.
He picks up pots when no one else wants them, or the opportunity presents itself. And Jonathan Duhamel, who started off a little quiet, has been roaring down the track.
Well, he was on like 4 hands ago. Then he raised the next hand. Then he raised the next hand. I mean, he maybe took one off in there. I don't know what to say about that sevens hand because it's a play that I think that you know 90% of us are going to be happy to check the sevens down on the river, and it takes a lot of creativity to bet that, to try to get rid of exactly a king.
6-6 fold. 6-7 fold.
But there's all the straights are there. I mean, he could have had ace 4, ace 5. He could have made ace 4. It's just so many hands that.
By the way, Phil, this is now the third time that Trickett has raised Talal's big blind out of, you know, either 3 or 4 opportunities.
Bill Hellmuth is doing commentary.
He's had a bit of a hand every time, but I just wonder if he's looking to raise and play with Talal.
13,000.
So Jennifer made an accidental raise with the 8-4 diamonds. Tobias smiling like he knows it. Yeah, like this is cute. And as poor Sam, I mean, and really that's very interesting. And Sam's talking to the waitress, which is.
Wonder if he has seen what's happened. You're pretty sure that she didn't mean to raise, and this happens sometimes. Now she has to pretend she did. It's a very odd raise because it's a minimum raise.
She never would re-raise 5K here, and so, but something weird happened, and so because the weird happened, Sam has a chance to take advantage of it, but he's probably just going to call, and so actually he's dominated.
Yeah.
And he lost his bluffing mojo. So if accidental raise was the worst thing that could have happened for Sam.
He did want to make a big raise.
Wow, and they're taking it, they're holding the flop off or whatever. I mean,
Hard to be generous.
whenever they hold like this, I'm always wondering if there's big hands out there. But it has nothing to do with anything. But I'm like, are they holding because they're expecting someone to go broke?
And the flop is 4 hearts.
Well, they both smashed this flop for bottom pair.
Well, I wouldn't call it smashing the flop. They both flop bottom button. That's what you mean. She has to bet here. 20, good bet.
20,000.
Well, I think that Sam could easily call this, but I think it's tough now because she may have accidentally raised. Yep, he called.
The dynamics are getting a little crazy in pots like this.
This could easily be a split pot at the end, but Jennifer, of course, is hoping for a deuce or something.
Turn of 9 of spades. C8 check.
Now,
wow, look at this. Jennifer is going to just turn this mistaken raise into winning the pot.
is Trickett smell something fishy in that if she had a king, would she be a little trepidatious right now, or would she just bet it anyway?
Trickett could do anything here.
One of the hallmarks of Sam's game, just after, you know, having him sitting in here with yourself and you guys talking, he's very aware of these of patterns, of betting patterns and how they affect board textures. He's locked into a whole part of the game that is really interesting to listen to.
Well, it's always a question, would she bet if she had this? You know, and
I just feel like he's going to make a raise here. I don't know why. I mean, to him, something's not right. Is there anything that's not right here for you?
I mean, the nice thing is if he risks like 60,000 or like 70,000 here, he has a chance to win all the money out there. But it's real tough because Jennifer's really not the person that he wants to get involved bluffing, because we all know she's stubborn, and so I think he's looking at it that way.
Perhaps the best option is just to play this one safe, find another opportunity. Yeah, he doesn't like it. Just keeps shaking his head.
And that was just a horrible, you know, raised, like that Jennifer made a mistake there, but then she used that to her advantage the rest of the hand. And I like that.
Never beat her in one ball.
Intend to raise pre-flop.
I couldn't work it out myself. I think it was a mistake.
I'm Jennifer Chili. I don't make mistakes.
I know.
I was almost certain it was a mistake.
I was 100% certain it was a mistake.
It was 100%. Dan Shak's right again. It was 100% certain she made a mistake.
Of course, have a look at the chip counts. Chili's up into 6th. Tobias with $500,000 and Duhamel's in 2nd place.
Right, so I would say I was fairly certain.
3 players under 250,000, which very soon is going to be about 40 big blinds each.
8-13. No, but we didn't say it once.
Yeah, hand 43, it's 3-6, right?
That's right.
With an ante. I mean, that's a huge jump, by the way. You're anting 6,000 around, and all of a sudden you're anting,
He made it 8, she made it 13.
17,000 around. It's a huge jump.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the adjustment they need to make in the Premier League, is that exact adjustment. You know?
I was rooting for Tony.
Well, people are talking about 2 things.
I was rooting for Tony. No disrespect.
Whether or not they should play the 2nd level twice to start out, or perhaps bring the antes in the beginning.
That's why you were just going to re-pop it.
Do you have a preference or another idea?
I think the 2nd level twice is fine, you know.
That was Jason Mercier's idea.
It's a good idea. Or you could start with right at 3-6, but maybe start with 500,000 chips. That might work too.
That would actually be really tricky. If
You've been one of the guys who has sort of been very active, influential in sort of the World Series of poker structures. And, I mean, there was I think there was a couple of years where you would never even show up into a World Series tournament until, I don't know, the 5th level, 6th level, whatever it was.
Well, they won't let any of the big bracelet winners on the Players' Council. I think maybe, I don't know, I think Eric Seidel might have been on the Players' Council, but he probably shouldn't have been. I think they've kept, that's their excuse for not having me on the Players' Council, and I've never really asked to be on it, but Daniel's been one of the players in the Players' Council, and he loved the rebuy tournaments, and he went crazy, and he suddenly decided that rebuy tournaments were, there was, you know, it gave some people an unfair advantage, and all of a sudden, so I mean, he's had a voice in what happens in poker. And I think the Players' Council has done some good things, you know. They, I mean, we used to have the World Series of Poker. I guess it was like 3 years ago.
That hookah pipe made me
The
lose
antes,
my voice, Antonio.
the limits were so small,
Last
Jesse,
night we had
to
to buy a
start.
hookah
Especially
pipe
the limit
so we could get an
games,
outdoor
yeah.
table.
You
Especially
could win
the limit
every
And
pot
didn't
for
want
the
to
first 2
smoke it
hours,
because
and
he
maybe not even double up.
10 times as bad for you
And so now they've changed it to where those levels are more meaningful.
And then Antonio didn't want to smoke it either because Phil was telling him that. And so I smoked it because otherwise it's a big waste of money. And now I lost my voice.
I'll do something 10 times more damage.
I just know you as Joe's wife or Family Guy.
Oh, really? You just found that out? Yeah.
So now
Brilliant.
waste the money.
You know, I played myself on The Simpsons.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
I played myself, Jennifer Tilly, poker player, and then Chucky came in and made me leave the table.
I always rewind it. When I see Joe's wife talk, I always rewind it.
Great.
Put the air on?
Great. Recently,
I think they did put it on. It's not as hard as it was.
of course, Jennifer Tilly's also been a supporting player on Modern Family, another great show. But, her movie career has been glittering. Her poker career hasn't been bad either.
Do you like Family Guy, Jennifer?
She won a
I
bracelet.
really do. I've been doing it for like 12 years. I think
You know,
I
she
started doing
busted
it in
my wife in that
98,
tournament.
99.
Did she?
And
Yeah.
we did one season, and then it got canceled.
She was
And then
happy.
2
I
years
heard her
went
walk.
by.
She was walking around.
And then
What
they called
busted
us
Phil
and they said,
Hellmuth's
we're
wife?
starting up
But-
production again because
And I
it
said,
came out
Jen,
on
that's
DVD
great, but why don't
and
you win the
she was
bracelet?
cult favorite. It was
She
the
went
number
ahead and
one
did
on
it.
the
It was
DVD
beautiful.
chart. And so then they did it for another 10 years. I'm doing it right when I get back.
I love it.
My wife hasn't
It's
played
really fun
since.
stuff. It's very funny.
Really?
Right?
My wife plays in charity tournaments, you know, that we're at,
Jungle
but
Man on the Jungle Man on the
she
show.
just has no interest in
Jungle Man.
playing
Can't imagine
poker.
Jungle
which
Man
is-
in the recording doing that.
I'm sure that she's going to enjoy Australia, Phil. Not for the poker.
No, just Venice. She's just going to meet me in Venice. So we don't like to be apart, my wife and I, more than like 12, 13 days ever.
You were asking Jungle Man to be honest?
So I'm on an around-the-world odyssey. She's meeting me right in the middle in Venice for 10 days, which that is...
Well, when they say it's the most romantic city in the world, I don't think it's just an exaggeration.
Yep, that's what I've heard.
Yeah, he
I
is.
think he's so here. I think he's really honest.
Yeah.
I feel like he just tells you the truth no
Yeah,
matter what you ask.
he's the truth teller.
His filter is very small.
I don't know.
I
You guys
respect.
tried
Yeah.
that on the poker table already? When he was betting,
everyone always
asked him if
I
he's
answered
bluffing or
Shakerchi with the raise, Duhamel with the flush.
Yeah.
He just has to tell the
I
truth.
think if Antonio asks, he's gonna ask
I'll
him.
just dodge the answer.
Can you just ask him whenever he's betting on the river, like, if he has it or not?
It's tricky always telling the truth.
Yeah, it is.
3-bet
don't
with
answer,
Trickett
they're like-
in the big blinds. He's done this with a hand here, right?
Yes, that's a hand I like to call with in the big blind, just to take a flop, because it's, you know, the king-queen suited, there's just, you know, it could come an ace and you're just dead, but there's just so many nice flops so you can get people in trouble. It's back to Shakerchi now.
The jungle, in the jungle.
No, they didn't.
You got some
Oh,
fireworks.
wow, they both called.
I want to see someone get liquid.
Talal's going for this. He needs to set. And he's put a big percentage of his stack in already.
Sam doesn't like this.
What's
See
gonna?
if Sam can find a 30K bet here somehow, some way. Sure did. Genius, genius.
Knows what he's doing.
I think Sam and I think similarly about poker.
Do seem to have a good read on what he's going to do next. I mean, there's really nothing here for Talal unless he can find something special.
6-5 folds.
And there we go.
6-6 folds.
Easy money.
Did you see Sammy, the way he breathed out there?
What do you mean Sam Trickett, jungle man?
It's like whoosh.
Any thoughts?
Because if he gets called, he's beat. That's what it boils down to. I mean,
You think he's a good-looking dude?
He's actually played quite a bit of poker on TV. Of course, he was the World Open winner a couple of years ago. And
I'm comfortable enough to say that. I think he's a good-looking man. I think he looks
got invited to Premier League last year.
No wrong with that.
So 1 to 100, what would you give him?
How do you think he got the stamp sticky tricky on his back?
That was really the best.
That's the best story ever.
That was the best.
Do you think Patrick Antonius is good looking?
6-2 folds.
Yeah, no, bro.
He's so beautiful.
3 folds.
Come on, I can say
4
it.
folds. 6-5 folds.
What a fine specimen of a male.
I know my wife thinks Patrick Antonius is a good-looking guy.
6-7 folds.
These guys they're having fun. I mean, they are genuinely having a good time. It's not pretend.
That's the one time you ever
What does that mean?
Could make 8.
I've got to make it 8. What is it?
In some ways, the pressure's just completely off, right?
Not 9-8.
That's true. I mean, there is the matter of the
raised to
trophy and
$8,000.
$500,000 to play for, but
they're all pretty much not going to be losing very much money at this point.
Correct.
So, you know, and I think it's, you know, I think that it is a good group of people, and they want to laugh. They want to have some fun.
it is, and you know, the big hurdle of getting through to the final table, which over the course of Premier Leagues is a big hurdle. You feel like you've achieved, you know.
And the flop.
And check depending with deuce 8.
King and half.
Interesting.
4 spades. 10 of spades.
Can Sam find a check here with top pair and then flush draw? And he can't
They bet
because
10,000.
he needs to bet out, because he would bet out if he had nothing. So
What's all done? That's a big hand. King and a flush draw.
Tricky.
He's willing to put it all in. When the mood to show hands today.
I had all
Can you drink
all
jungle?
red,
Can you hold
so
your
we
boots
weren't
pretty well?
I had a big hand.
we weren't gonna.
You think you could hold
very
your
little
boots
chance
tricky?
of dancing with the 2 cards.
No, I don't.
What's that drinking?
Yeah.
just English. Come on. That's
4 years ago, I might have given you a challenge.
One proposition
in the,
no one wants to take
just
on.
like as an American, you can start drinking when you're 21, right? That's a huge
Yeah, but
disadvantage.
nobody waits till 21.
No, but still, like in Germany, like you can drink beer when you're 16, so people do it when they're 12 or 13, and I guess that's how, like, there's obviously a couple of years
65
earlier.
raises to 10,000.
Yeah, I guess that's
6 fold.
So
Tobias is saying it's just like poker drinking. You just need practice.
The Americans
7
come up to
fold.
Canada. They can drink when they're 18.
yeah, are they doing that actually? Or
You should go over the border, you can drink anything. Can you hold your boots, Tobias?
C8 raises to 32,000.
I've never been
So Sam's really kind of mistimed this. I don't see from just think of it from a game theory point of view. You know that Talal's over raising. He's raised with all these junk hands.
Right.
Sam doesn't know that, but he's had nothing all these times he's been raising. But he's gone ahead and raised when Talal had his best possible hand. So
only in the south.
Sam didn't give him.
I mean, I wanted to go anyways.
I like to talk a lot about the white magic, the reading ability, that kind of stuff. And so he didn't make a very good read here, and he acted pretty quickly too. You know, Sam usually takes his time, looks at his opponent before he pulls the trigger.
He feels like Talal, get the reading, he feels like Talal is just playing way too many hands.
Way too open, and so therefore why even bother reading him? And sometimes I do that too. Sometimes you're like, well, this guy's playing every hand, I'm going to raise him anyway, I don't even have to study.
Don't let anything get in the way of Burning Man. Okay, you can have other stuff going on in your life, but remember, Burning Man is more
For
important.
Shakerchi, he's only got about 190,000 to start the hand. All in is probably the only play.
You would like Burning Man.
I'm going to try to make it look really tricky.
But I don't think Sam has to, like, you know, I don't think he has to start doing that until there's antes out there, until you're getting rewarded more for a re-raise.
Well, it's everywhere.
So assuming there's no read, assuming you're not reading, and reading doesn't exist in poker, that was an excellent re-raise by Sam.
And it's a very good point. Why not wait a couple points, two hands, the 3,000-6,000 will be there, and
yeah,
then you can.
And I think Sam does have good reading abilities, and he has to use them, you know?
Like 4 folds, 5 folds.
So it's basically, I think it's a great idea because then nobody knows how to drive when they get their license. And then,
Sam in Quebec, the first 2 years you need to be with someone.
yeah, that's great. I think that's a good idea.
Are you
Like,
going to give me a watch?
to start earlier, let them drive earlier, but then have someone sit next to them.
Wait.
There's been a raise, Jen.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Okay, I'm going to defend my blind. I'm tired of folding my blind.
C3 call.
Especially against this guy.
Jungle man approves.
Okay. Next time I'll raise my
Jennifer
blind.
does not need an 8-high flop here, but
It's a reason.
That's you guys, and the big line.
Reasonable
ace-high flop
defense.
is good.
King of diamonds, ace of
I
diamonds.
check.
C3 checks.
That's what I'm
C6 checks.
defending.
You got to see the turn.
Turn
Yeah.
into 7 of spades.
I check again.
C3
Check.
checks. C6 checks.
now he's going to call on the river. Yep, so she can bet 10,000, and he's going to just snap it, I think.
That was my
3
favorite.
bets 12,000.
Oh, you got it, Jim.
Ah.
C6 folds.
Another
I'm
good
the best
fold. I
bluffer
mean,
in the world.
he's just assuming that whenever they bet, they have it, and he's been right so far.
Said I wanted to win.
He's been right so far every time but once, and it nearly knocked him out of this tournament.
Well, that was the time he assumed they didn't have
All he
it.
wanted to do was
Right,
plug
right,
every
right.
single hand.
Really?
Unbelievable. Really?
But you
Two
said he
levels,
succeeded.
blinds are coming in.
Well, I
Two
mean, I didn't
levels,
mean it.
blinds
I
are
mean it that
going
way at
up.
all.
Did he say would be the
Antes are
best
coming
bluffer in
in.
the world or the most
And
prolific bluffer
Phil,
in
the
the
two
world?
tightest players at the table so far, Dan, Shak, and Antonio.
Most consistent.
Wow,
He was
look at
consistent. He
that.
never had a hand.
1,000.
Yep. And you know, Antonio, in the cash games, I've seen him be the tightest player ever for long stretches of time, and I've seen him come into tournaments and just blast. So Antonio has all the gears. We already know that.
They had the Jamie
And so he's
Goldberg,
employing that tight
what's
gear,
that word
which
with that
he doesn't have to
flamingo?
use too often.
Remember they had the Jamie Goldberg?
And he seems to be in a good mood. He's talking. He's having
Yeah,
fun.
but
So
Jamie Goldberg.
he's not panicking yet.
C5 folds.
which is smart because he still has 25 big blinds.
Well, he
He's
won the
not
main event with the
I also
most
feel like
people in it
Antonio
ever.
really wants to go deep in this tournament. He's been fighting all week. He took a little bit of heat about his heads-up match, and I think now that he's here, he wants to actually make some noise and show what he's made of.
Like to win 18 million.
I think he was mad at me for my commentary in the heads-up match, and I said, "Listen, Antonio, I said 10 times you're a great player, but it did seem like you called off the 70,000 with the King Jack, and I thought that was a very poor play, and
But I heard that he sold like 50%.
And he said, Phil, you call it the way you see it, brother.
It was agreed for a thing beforehand that there was even text message proof of that some crazy stuff went on after.
That's pretty sick.
Like even text before the final table. Like that day.
Can you imagine?
How much did you
They're splitting the buy-in, and then all of a sudden the guy.
It wasn't like a split a buy-in the situation. It was
The Bodog gave him a free entry.
It was, yeah.
Oh, they must be talking about the World Series of Poker champion 2006, Jamie Gold, who was actually taken to court, Phil, after he won the World Series of
It was
Poker.
in the days really before staking.
And yeah, it's amazing that particular incident
wasn't as prolific.
really set the stage for later backing and staking agreements later on.
Well, obviously.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate situation, and it was interesting. I knew one of the guys who was like one of the producers or one of the people involved in one of the shows that I was doing, and so I saw him there, and I'm like, hey, what's up? He's like, I can't believe my luck. I have a piece of Jamie Gold, and I'm like, oh my God, that's beautiful. And then Jamie Gold won it later that day, and I congratulated that guy. I congratulated him, and he apparently months passed, and there was always an excuse why he couldn't collect, and finally it was settled in the courts, which is unfortunate because in 30 years of poker, I'd never really heard of someone who hadn't gotten paid when they backed someone. And most times they were at the window. I'm talking about during tournaments now.
Right.
You looked at me like I was nuts.
I did. I wasn't sure where you've been spending your 30 years. I certainly never heard about it for those stakes, but I certainly have heard situations like that before.
Yeah.
But.
Does that math show that as well?
We don't have those stats right yet, but I think so. We saw them before. I think.
Yeah, he's been the most active player at the table by far. So.
6-3 fold. 6-4 fold.
I met him in
6-5 fold.
That was they're visiting a friend.
Am I dodging your question?
Am I dodging it? No, I mean...
No, am I dodging?
Oh, no. I was just thinking about this Jungleman has opened up, too. You just saw the 7-9 suited. Certainly, you were talking about that he was playing a little bit tight in the first 2 levels, so he's got a gear change going on, would you say?
Well, I mean, like...
You know, I mean, when you're a smart person, you adjust. When you realize that an adjustment needs to be made. So he hasn't necessarily. I don't think he would have made this adjustment a year or 2 ago. I think he would have just gone ahead and said, "Hey, I won a lot of money playing poker. I'm young. I'm good." And then, it gets in the way. A lot of players' developments is winning a lot of money and getting locked into things. And it's happened to me too at times. So I know. But I think that now that the antes are there, it's in his best interest to make a few more moves.
I mean, it's not very classy whatsoever, but it's a lot of fun, and you can just go from one to the next one.
Is that a nice hand? Sam thinks so.
You noticed the very first hand after the blinds went up, Sam raised it with the Queen 8 of diamonds.
Right. And then the Jungleman, and now here. Right.
Because every time everybody folds,
what way?
He picks up the 3,000 small blind, the 6,000 big blind, and 8 antes at 1,000 each, 17,000. So every time everybody folds, he picks up 17,000, and nobody's more aware of that than Trickett and Antonio.
Sort of.
It's amazing. Before, he would have been betting 12 to get 9, and now he's betting 12 to get 18. It's a huge difference, isn't it?
Yes.
Why do they sort of love you?
Yeah.
17,000 you pick up every time you raise and everybody folds. So, and that's how people win tournaments.
Said I love you to a stripper?
Picking up risk-free chips.
I've never said I love you.
You can make 3 raises in 10 hands. Okay, you're going to pick up 51,000 in chips. Minus, I guess you'll have to ante,
And you're right, he answers everything like open and honest. You weren't kidding.
Minus you'll actually, in those 10 cents, actually.
Like a teddy bear. She is so special.
I have to tell you.
He is so special.
When you're at home with strippers, do they take their clothes off slow?
It's almost like he's on a truth serum.
Make a show of it, or do they just whip them off and jump in bed?
So that you can generalize. I think they're all different, right?
Yeah.
Oh, they're good.
I don't like lap dances.
Because?
They're not real.
2-1 fold.
That's just.
2 folds. 2-3 folds.
They know the Jungleman can't help himself, so they're taking it deeper and deeper.
They are. They feel like he's on sodium pentothal or something, but the truth is, he's just jungle.
I don't think it's
6 raises, 12,000.
And why, Duhamel? Why, Phil?
I was there. I just ended up drinking.
He can't help
every day.
himself?
He's just not afraid of Antonio and Trickett. And he knows that he can run them over. I mean, they know that he 5-bet with ace-10 of spades, so he can take advantage of that. He can take his blow-up, which he luckily survived, and turn it to his advantage.
If you go there on a normal, I mean, there's a couple.
Because obviously, if you're going to raise with the 7-deuce offsuit, you're saying that you're going to raise without looking at your cards, essentially.
Right. He just decided I'm going to raise every button. That move was trendy like in the 80s and 90s, and then it went away for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, but that's like the same kind of crowd,
Yeah, kind of. It's a little different though, because these people have regular jobs and stuff.
Third level, the final table, Premier League Poker 6.
It's like poker, except they're betting sports.
No. They work for the. Like not the people betting, like not the professional bettors, more the people that work for the companies.
And Jennifer's stack is not fantastic. She's got she's got a few big blinds more than Antonio and a bunch more than Talal.
13,000, 2-5 folds. Six raises to 30,000.
And he's just kind of relentless. So this dynamic about Duhamel getting the reprieve with the ace-10, has it allowed him to be more active in a sense? Or do you think Antonio going to figure this out?
Now, this is interesting because even when he went crazy in 5-bet, he had ace-10. So Antonio's in another uncomfortable position. He was in the same position with ace-10 when Duhamel re-raised from the button.
Right.
And now he's back in the same position.
And it's the exact same. It's the exact same. Who opened and who re-raised?
That time it was Ace King versus Ace 10. And so Antonio's like, oh my God, I have Ace 10. The last time I was shown Ace King and Ace 10, I think I'm going to have to fold.
Well, there's a couple differences, Phil, aside from what the information we've gotten, which is that there's now more money in the pot, and Antonio has a fewer number of big blinds. I mean,
right, 3,000, and it's a matter for him. He has to read Duhamel somehow, and then he can make a great move here.
He's really only got 22 big blinds. I mean, this might be the spot that if he passes up, he won't get another one. He knows that. He doesn't want to miss this if it is a spot.
Right, but you don't want to just blast yourself out either. So I wouldn't be surprised if he goes with this, but it's just not easy. It's just when it's 2-bet and 3-bet in front of you, Ace 10 just it's rarely good.
Well, he was wrong the last time in that it wouldn't have been a spot, and he folded. Can he go the other way based on a read?
It would have been if he read just Duhamel.
Right.
It's just a tough spot, you know. I mean, it's like you just have to give up.
Wow.
So.
Wow. You're right.
No, I don't blame him.
Well, the likelihood is he is going to find more spots where he can be the open raiser.
Well, I think he's probably a little bit tilted if he knew what the cards were to find out later, because I think he was moving in, or he was going to re-raise Tobias with Ace 10 of diamonds. And instead, Duhamel picked up all that money. Now, there's only one thing better than a raise that picks up 17,000, Jesse. The re-raise. Because you pick up the 17,000 in blinds and antes plus what the other man put in the pot, which was about 12. So he just picked up 29,000 risk-free. It's nothing.
And it was a very small re-raise, too. He only put in 30 to pick up all that money. I mean, wow. Basically, it was an even money shot, 30 to pick up 29. That's incredible.
Yep.
Well, the strippers, I mean, they're great for Laden Thinks, I'll tell you that. They're the greatest brain for Laden Thinks of all time.
It's a good idea, actually.
But is there a weird dynamic going on, which is that when a guy gets caught bluffing, or as Duhamel essentially was with the Ace-10, that everyone thinks to himself, well, he knows he's been caught, he won't do it again, and Duhamel has just decided just to do it again and again.
Yeah, but he wasn't really bluffing with Ace-10 of spades. You know, I mean, he was on the button, and, you know, the guy 2 off and open.
Sick to death.
And Antonio's gone into a bit of a shell. He just folded Ace-3 in the cutoff.
12,000.
He's just committed to the super tight style, I guess.
And this really is the essence of Dan Shak. For a guy who looks like a rock, if he feels like he's ahead of someone's range, he will act on it.
Well, he feels now that the blinds are 3-6 that Sam's going to open a lot of pots, and he feels like King 6 high is good. I think that's what he's thinking, and actually he's right again.
He is right.
Fold.
There is no defense against a guy who doesn't play many hands, or is there? I mean, is there? You know, do people like to jam the tight guy when he 3-bets them?
I mean, the only defense is white magic, baby.
But
you just have to make a read, because a guy that's playing super tight, when he does bluff, he's a little bit easier to read. Sam Trickett's not exactly easy to read. I'm not saying whether I have a read on him or not, but to the world, he's not as easy to read because he's bluffing 30% of the time, or 40% of the time, or 50% of the time. And so he's in so many hands that it's just hard to tell. A tight player is usually going to have it.
Category. You know, you showed down Ace King. How did you get into that category? What have you been up to? Have you been bluffing off in the other heats? Oh, he's in the Duhamel category of our group. He was the Duhamel of their group.
And you had a real hand there, not just Ace King.
Talal, my hand.
Making you think he has a real
2 black
hand.
knights.
You
Oh,
go home and you cry about it
Duhamel.
afterwards.
this is unfortunate for Shakerchi. This is kind of the best hand he's looked at since it started.
Well, he had 10s and moved in, and he's no way he's going to get away.
I think Duhamel lost one pot. What's the greatest?
No way he can get
He
away.
flatted. He flatted with the kings. And how could you flat with the kings when you've done so much three betting, Phil. What's the story?
Well, you hit the nail on the head. I don't know I don't know why he didn't re-raise. This is the guy you want to re-raise too, because he might move in with, you know, ace-4 offsuit,
and even so, he's a peeler. I mean, but Duhamel might not know that. But Talal, if he doesn't fold, he's a peeler anyway.
Wow. I mean, he would have busted Talal this hand, and now he's going to win the minimum.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
I bet 22,000.
Wow.
All Duhamel had to do was re-raise before the flop. Talal's all in, and we're down to 7.
I mean, I guess he was thinking about the guys behind him, hoping for a squeeze, Phil? Is that...
Yes, it's not a horrendous, but it's just once you've re-raised with ace-10...
Right. Doesn't matter almost, yeah.
Right. Now, once you've re-raised with ace-10, you might as well re-raise with kings, because you know that people think you have ace-10.
I still ended up winning, but...
Doesn't matter what he does right now. Everything is working for Duhamel. He can win them right, left, or sideways.
Well, you know, we keep talking about this butterfly effect, you know, and it's weird how it keeps coming up, and I've seen it happen a lot in the past. And of course, maybe when it's just a random observation, the butterfly effect. But Talal should have been out. Now, maybe he was going to hit a 9, but he should have been out. And let's see if he comes back somehow from the dead here.
Some funky pots, haven't we, Young?
Yeah, we have.
Over our time, we played some real pots that just make no sense and all back to front. Everything's wrong.
Even in this Premier League, as Sam Trickett is saying,
every time we play, the pots just get played out in such a weird way that.
They have a bit of form in cash games as well. They've played a lot of hands.
Line all the time.
Dan is going to make it, wow, 40. Just sending a message. I have it.
Now, these are two players who have played 4 heats together, so Talal should know better than he does. Yeah.
That was like a message raise. I'm going to make it 40 to let you know I have something. If you want to ship, I'm going to just snap call you.
He had no trouble getting through the heat stages, Dan Shak. Never a hair out of place, no sweat. And it's just like that at the final table so far.
Some weird dynamic why you played the hand that way. People watching like, what are they doing? These guys are rubbish. Trying to remember pops that we played 2 years ago. Just trying to
I mean, that is a good question that Sam's saying. How far back do you sometimes go with a player? I remember a hand I played with Esfandiari from '95. Do you go back that far sometimes?
I do sometimes, but usually the players change a lot by then. So, but you look for the look, you know, on their face.
15,000.
Is that might stay consistent and steady.
C3 fold.
I mean, that's incredible. If you can remember the way a guy looked in a pot 10 years ago, that's incredible. But Trickett was saying that as far as he and Jungleman goes, he remembers the different lines they took in the last couple of years, which is kind of interesting, too.
Talal's not going to do this, is he?
Well, now Jungleman has speeded up a little bit, and this is a late position raise, Phil. I mean, is there...
C5.
He's just called. Oh, he folded?
Wow. Yeah, he folded.
Talal. We thought we knew you. There's Jungleman. His stack 370,000, which is just about 10% more than he started the final table with. There has been just a general feeling, even among the guys who have gotten knocked out of this Premier League, or among most of them, that it's been fun. There's been a lot of laughing in this tournament, a lot of camaraderie, and a lot of people saying that this kind of stuff should happen more often. Not that the stuff that's going on the poker world isn't great, but it's nice that there's variety.
C3 calls. 6-4 folds. 6-5 folds.
Jungleman's now raised 2 in a row, Phil. If there's
Another still water.
6 folds.
All right, Duhamel gets away from the ace-8. Everything's calmed down in his mind now.
yeah.
10 of spades, 4 diamonds, 10 of hearts.
Guess this is the first time these two have squared off.
18,000.
And I wonder what Jennifer Tilly, I know she likes Jungleman. What does she think of his game? Oh my gosh, is she going to do a little magic here?
Oh, what a beautiful
He
play.
raises to 60,000.
But what is it supposed to look like? This is a paired board.
Yeah, but it's just a real tough spot, you know, for Jungleman.
So did you think that a lot of...
It's Jennifer Tilly,
Right.
and she's unpredictable, so she may actually raise with a 10, where a lot of people wouldn't raise with a 10, or she may have 9s.
Jungleman may be the one player in poker who is sort of oblivious to the fact that Jennifer Tilly is a woman. If you know what I mean, he's just... I mean, all he sees is binary right now. He's thinking about... He's asked Jennifer how much she has left here.
Well, to the contrary, he may actually think because she's a woman, he can run her over.
That's true. That's true. This should be a fold, or is a fold for almost everybody.
Yeah, I mean...
And yet, does he feel like something's going on? It would be really interesting because they have no form together. Jungleman from Group A, Jennifer from Group B. Unless he's been reading all the transcripts, he should have really almost no idea of how she plays. That big sigh. Tilly got it through, and you love that, Phil.
It was a nice play. I mean, it was a nice play, and I'm just going to give her credit.
Jungle, you have no idea what she has, right?
I have no idea, but...
I have no idea ever.
No idea.
I thought she was bluffing.
That's my I was like so
I was gonna
close
say
to
small
rip it.
pair.
I just like can't even describe how close I was.
Did you fold 2 overs?
Huh?
Did you fold 2 overs?
What else can I have?
What did he say he was so close to doing? Was he going to click back or call?
Oh, I clicked back.
You guys, you have 7s, right?
Jennifer, of course, played a great hand against Talal Shakerchi. You might have seen it. I think it was the second heat, where she made a very strange, on the flop, it was, she bet, Talal check raised, and she 3-bet. They both had air, and Talal said after, he said, it made no sense. I knew it made no sense, but because it was Jennifer, I just thought I had to fold. And she was bluffing.
That's exactly right. I mean, that's exactly what the players think. They're like, well, Jennifer's the most confusing. She's the hardest to read, and she's the most stubborn. You know, you may find yourself, she may have nothing and find herself all in, you know?
3 calls. 6-4 folds.
Jen's dealt ace-king, ace-jack again.
Right, and Jungleman's raised again. So here we go for Talal. This is what he's doing with the hand.
6 folds, 6-7 folds.
And now he's only got, 25 big blinds, Phil. Is this going to get through?
Jen may call.
How much is that approximately?
Yeah, she knows Talal fairly well, doesn't she?
Yep.
Should have done it.
158 total.
Ooh, sounds like a lot.
That's like my whole stack, just about.
She's got an inkling. I mean, if she feels she's ahead, should she call? Is it as simple as that?
Sorry about that.
Well, yeah, because I think she can gamble. You know, I mean, she can gamble, and I think A lot of the players, if they know they're in this spot, will put the money in. I mean, she's a 2-to-1 favorite.
Yeah, Talal. There's like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's about 8 hands that can be beat.
She's right. That doesn't make him feel very good. And you know, he's deader than a doornail if she does call, because Jungle Man folded the same hand. Of course, no one's to know that. But.
That's 148 that I have left.
I wonder what the math is. Is it 60-40 maybe?
60.
No, it's. I mean, she's not getting a great spread. It's close to 6-4. You're right. You're right. Close to 6-4.
I don't know, but you've been. I have a pretty good hand.
Wow, she's close. She's gonna call.
She's close, but I don't think she's pulled the trigger in these spots often enough. You know, where she's had to make a call against somebody like before the flop.
I wouldn't mind a flip.
And you know, and I thought, all right, well, if you don't mind a flip, you have to call, Jen. Let's see if you can pull the trigger.
Sorry, I'm gonna take 1 more minute.
It was such a Phil Locke thing to say that there's only 8 hands that beat. Yeah, I mean, you can just hear him coming out of his mouth.
I don't think you have queens.
Wow,
You have ace 10 or pocket 8s or pocket 7s. They're in good shape.
She's talked this out quite well, Phil.
She has. She's talked it out well, and then, but it's a matter also of pulling the trigger. Yeah, I didn't think she would.
Oh, Phil, you're right. Why are you right? She did have it.
You said you have ace 10 and then called.
What?
And you had ace 10. That would be impressive.
What?
Or just make the hand and call. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to dust off $148,000 and be down to $100,000 and have all the internet kids laughing at me.
It's a lot of pressure, but at the end of the day, Phil, on final tables, that's what makes great poker players, pulling the trigger, not just talking it out.
You never know.
You can talk it out, and you know, I mean, you know, that's what I tease Dean Eggs about, Daniel Lagrange. You know, my buddy, he seems to have a lot of white magic, but he seems to like say, you have. I know you have ace queen. I know you have ace queen. I know you have ace queen. I call, and then they show ace queen. You know.
You're so right. It's but that's curiosity. That's you're right.
And Daniel's gotten better at that too, by the way. He's using his white magic more.
C3 fold, C4 fold, C5.
Oh, I thought she was going to do it. I believed in you, Jennifer Tilly, and I still do. As I'm sure a lot of people do. But that's the whole thing. The difference between knowledge and execution in poker, especially under pressure, is from here to the top of Mount Everest, really.
Yep.
You see it all the time. You see people act one way and then they get on a final table and act another.
See they check. 2 checks.
Boy, those spots pre-flop, it is so tough to pull the trigger.
Wow, and she bet 30 so quickly here that's just, they're both going to like, wow. She bets so quickly that she loses. The only people that are going to play with her is the people that have it. And that's why if she just studies another like 10 seconds, like she doesn't know what to do, like it could be a bluff, she gives herself a chance to get one of these guys.
Tilly is
when they don't have it,
right?
You know.
291,000. Oh, but it could be so much more. Now we've seen Talal get his chips in. He's chipped up a little bit. Antonio probably can't finish this level.
You predicted it. You predicted it.
Well, it's a factor of blinds, isn't it? But Antonio probably cannot finish this level without getting his chips in.
Jesse, here. Come on over here. Okay.
Give me a
now
pat
I'm
on the
patting
back.
you on the back. Okay. I just physically patted your back.
Yeah, but Phil, it's
now
always easy
on.
for. I'm like Jennifer in some ways. You know, I couldn't pull that trigger either, and never have. So, I mean.
But you knew. You made a good prediction.
And Antonio needs to get moving too. This is not a man who's going to go down to 9 big blinds. It's not his style.
All in.
Yeah,
7 is all in.
It makes sense that he moves in here.
Boy, he's bean pulled it.
See they fold.
I mean, he's on the button, and
Yeah. And I mean, overall, you know, the internet guys who would min raise here.
How much is it? About 100.
And this is why you don't min raise. You don't want to. You don't want to get involved with this guy.
Here's the problem: is that Dan Shak's a smart guy. He's been playing a lot of poker. He's like, why did Antonio move all in? Why did he move all in? Why didn't he make it 40,000 to go? Why didn't he make it? The blinds are 3 and 6. So Dan's saying, why didn't he make it like 12 or 15 if he had a real hand? So Dan's thinking if he had a real hand, he would have opened for a lot less.
You should take that
Therefore, he's bluffing.
So okay, Mom.
The problem is
either we go to dinner, we hang
Shaq,
out, or we double up. Or we just
he
listen.
doesn't even beat bluffs badly, does he, Phil? I mean, this is a terrible bluff catcher hand, isn't it?
It's not a very good bluff catcher hand, but Dan is a very mathematical guy. He just wants to be a favorite. I mean, yesterday when he folded jacks against a straight flush draw, he's like, I made the wrong fold. I made the wrong fold.
See, the fact that the card hit your hand sort of makes me want to call, because, like, you would think no one would want to call because the card hit your hand and now it changes your hand. Like, the reverse psychology thing, so throw it in, and because then it might tilt somebody if they call because the card hit your hand. Like, I've known you too long. I know you're capable of something like that.
Wow.
That's the problem.
He's gone off down a really weird road, and I think he has something here, maybe.
It would normally be an automatic fold. But I know you're so capable of that. Thinking I'm not going to call unless I'm really super strong, just because I don't want to tilt the card hit your hand.
So it was a misdeal. A card was burned, and Antonio got a new card. And Dan is bringing that into the equation.
I would tilt a little bit because the card hit your hand. I lost. You happen to be correct about that. But just a little bit.
Wow, he can afford it, but he doesn't like to put in chips in an unwise fashion.
Sorry, guys. As I said, I normally would probably fold.
Well, the question is, and Dan's been playing a lot of poker. I mean, that's, he's been traveling, flying the world, playing a lot of poker.
You got like king, queen, or king, jack suited, something like that.
Shaq is a trigger puller, by the way, isn't he, Phil?
Yes, he is.
Far ahead.
I mean, I think he's 50-50 here. Call.
There's Antonio's mom.
Yeah, it's not worth doubling you up right now. The other one obviously wasn't very good.
The magician got it through.
No. As I said,
and Mom can take a sigh of relief and breathe easy. Baby boy is still in the tournament.
Jennifer's quick to tell him, that's all you need is an ace.
I had no idea what he was
Jack.
talking about.
You didn't know what I was talking about?
You mean like because something happened in hand, it put you off calling?
She's probably had a lot of opportunities to be stressed out. On the side of a poker table.
Change the hand. And I don't want to lose a bunch of chips.
That didn't go into my head at all.
That's your case.
Let's go.
You're capable of thinking that for sure.
That's next
level. A card got exposed. I don't know.
I like that.
No. I know you're fully capable of that.
Did you hear Trickett?
I like that.
What?
Next level. I like that.
I was just thinking.
Antonio said that.
I know he's 100%
didn't enter my head, by the way.
That's good.
When Trickett said, really?
Well, we're glad you're not out, Antonio.
Me too.
When you're gone, there's nobody to ask Jungle Man.
As I said, I normally would have insta-folded, but because
Yeah, who's going to ask Jungle Man about a two-big hand?
Wow, that would have been a sick ball if you got it right because of that.
4 raises.
And in worst case position, he's got king, queen against my ace reg. He's not so bad anyway. But the chances are I don't want to tilt after a change hand.
No, Antonio's going all in.
Good spot for it.
I mean, I just could be completely off.
Reinkemeier.
6-7 is all in.
And Antonio is a trigger puller. That's the thing. No fear.
6-1 folds. 6-2 folds.
Got a pair, but it's too little.
It is 2-2.
So Antonio got the 9-10 through and came right back with the next pot. Don't look now, but he's up to 170,000.
He's got heart, and he did have a sort of a set about his jaw that kind of felt like he was not going to be an easy out in this tournament.
He just won 2 pots in a row and he's still a short stack. But, you know, he gave himself a chance. He played super, super tight, and that made Dan fold an ace when he did move in.
And he can breathe a little bit now. Let the blinds go through, perhaps. Although, by the time the blinds get to him, the blinds will be going up. And that's going to be a bit of a game changer here. You hit 4 and 8,000.
5 folds. 6 folds.
Well, we haven't had any early exits, Phil, and do you think that's just the fact that there's been so many chips in play, that players are playing careful? What do you attribute it to? Nobody wants to be the first out, perhaps? You did mention that.
I mean, there is something about being the first out of the Premier League, you know.
It's amazing.
Right, and so it does alter people's play. Everybody except Talal, you know? He doesn't care.
There was, and I'm sure you remember it, the first season of the Premier League. There was just, I think it went, it might have gone like 6 hours or something before we lost the first player. It was one of the most incredible things, and then everybody just went out very quickly. The blinds were huge.
2 bets 9,000.
I think you had something like 3 times as many chips as everybody else, and there's all-ins all over the place. You lost every one by the time it was all over.
One of these years I'm going to run good in the Premier League.
Of course you will. Of course you will.
So we have a very interesting hand here. We have the worst possible hand with the deuce 3 against the third worst possible hand with the 3-5. You just don't see this very often.
Was there a bet and a call on the turn?
Yes.
2 bets 22,000.
And if Jennifer has a read, I think she's going to fold 90% of the time, 95% of the time here. So. But if she has a read on Jungle Man, if she figured something out, she can, you know, do something creative.
He gave her a bit of a clue earlier when he sort of intimated that she tricked him, or she confused him. Happy to get that one.
So honest, that's usually something to worry about.
I was like, well, on the turn it looks like I picked up some kind of flush draw, and if I had a flush here, then I would raise him, but I had no flush.
She certainly thinks like a poker player most of the time.
I don't want to do any clever fancy moves. Straightforward poker until I have a big stack.
It's likely that Jennifer has been playing more poker than Talal, Duhamel, and maybe Trickett.
Wow.
I'm talking about in the last month or 2.
Right.
She's been playing no limit almost every day.
You get a real feel for the cards when you just get in there and grind. You say yourself, I mean, sometimes you just need to just take a few weeks off and go down there and get the feel for the cards back if you're feeling rusty.
7 folds.
It's like anything else, you know. I mean,
a
guitar player needs to practice.
How many more hands?
One up.
Yeah, we get
1 fold. 2 calls. 3 calls.
We usually get a break after this level.
Yeah, for sure. They need a break.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been working hard down there, these poker players.
4 folds.
I hope it's in like.
Well, Jungle Man versus Trickett, round 7,400,00003. Neither one has much of anything.
I hope it's now. I don't want you to tilt it and call me next time.
I would have been left with 260. I would have been okay. That's whether I wanted to double you up or not.
I wanted you to double me.
I know you did.
And the turn is the 8 of spades.
That's kind of an interesting card for both players.
Yep.
See 8 checks.
Jungle Man has to bet here. the reason why there's just too many draws out there. He needs to protect his 8.
Problem was, I also thought you were going to get there. Even if you had like the 10 jack or the queen king or the queen jack.
Trickett says, I'm done with you, Jungle Man. You take it.
You gotta take that into consideration.
Yeah, I did take it. Trust me, I took it into consideration.
His fundamentals are quite sound, aren't they, Phil? I mean, as far as knowing how to read a board, knowing when to bet. I mean, there's certain things that he does very well, this Jungle Man, as you would expect.
What's next? 4-8 with 2?
Absolutely. I mean, he's just a very talented player and, you know, has a tremendous potential for the future.
I think
he's going to have to learn how to. He's going to have to play more more ring game, 8-handed play,
right,
and make some adjustments.
When
I played with him 3-handed, he played literally every hand.
Right.
You know?
I think he looks a little...
But it was a cash game, and it was about a year ago when he was, you know, just in fast mode.
To me, he looks a little old for his years. I mean, I think sometimes people now, when they see him, they're surprised that he's, you know, he's only, what is 22, 23? I mean, he's a young guy. And Jennifer could give Antonio a spin here. Antonio thinking it's about time I picked up something.
Yeah, but Greg's in 3 hands anyway.
Well, Antonio made basically an early position raise. He just hasn't raised many hands. That has to send a signal to the table that he is strong. And look at that. Talal folded ace-8 offsuit.
Amazing.
Wow. So...
amazing. That's not like Talal at all.
Spades, jack of clubs, queen of diamonds.
But it can only be for the reason you mentioned. I think that Antonio is snugging it a little bit.
Bets 21,000.
They might be good friends, but
boy, she's giving him the hard stare down.
6-3 folds.
Good fold, very good fold.
So the short stacks chipping up a little bit. That's bringing everything into touch. And sometimes that's the way it goes. You start out with everybody having uneven stacks, and then you look around. Blinds are bigger, and you're just playing a flip it.
And Antonio's out of the cellar.
Wow, look at that. He did it well, too. I mean, it was a bit sweaty, but he did it well.
No, I like that. I like the fact that he just waited and waited and waited and waited and waited, and he made the move at the right time with the 9-10. It seemed fine, and you know, then picks up a couple hands, you know.
I was playing with my chips here. I'm thinking it is because yours are back there. Yes, it is.
The only way here is up or out.
I was playing here with it. Can we have a camera replay?
C1 folds. C2 raises to 15,000.
Is this a 3-bet? Does she have those kind of stack?
C3 raises to 45,000.
Well done.
Now she's put a pretty big percentage of her stack in here.
Right.
She only started the hand with
C5 fold.
40 bigs. Well, that's gives you the full range, I guess. And if Juggleman wants to make a move here, he basically has to play for Jennifer's stack.
I think he's laying it down.
He's a little hemmed in, isn't he? Might be, I mean, is he at shove or pass? It feels like it. And why would he shove? Of course, in poker, you always get in the most kind of situations where you, with the player on your immediate left, Phil, but it does feel like Jennifer is targeting Juggleman a little bit.
Feels that way.
It just keeps, it's like a Charlie Brown sort of thing. It keeps, you know.
Wah, 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 wah. You ever been run over by a girl so much, Jungle? Huh?
I have.
And she's climbing up, Jennifer Tilley.
What?
She has more chips than she started this final table with by a long way. 190,000 up to 200.
You ever been run over by a movie actress before? Would you rather play Phil Hellmuth or Jennifer Tilley heads up? Honestly.
Probably Phil, honestly.
That first card flashed. I think it's a picture.
Yeah, you got it right.
There we go again.
That was a setup by Antonio for sure.
Phil Hellmuth, I was just kidding. I know you're
It did flip, and I don't have good vision, but someone might have seen it.
He's the champion. I don't want to mess with the champion.
I mean, I obviously didn't get it either.
Commentary. We're gonna get the Phil berate at some point.
You're not going to get the good jungle commentary, Duhamel.
Oh well.
You like both?
I was pretty sure the hand yesterday would be cold.
Yeah. I was thinking when I flipped that over, man, he's gonna be so mad.
That was so pure. That was so pure.
What did you say?
The hand where he,
That's what he was thinking. I'm going to make him so mad. And you know what? He really didn't, actually.
No.
I don't know if you didn't give him the satisfaction, perhaps.
No, I had made up my mind.
When he got it, you just showed a winner and started laughing. It was so good.
Yeah, that was so good.
Was it like an evil laugh or something?
No, it was a happy laugh.
The hand was sick.
It was 16.
Yeah, I heard about it.
Phil played it like a gangster. Check raise and min bet to induce, and then Jungle went.
As I said, Phil, I mean,
Jungle called, and then he was like, knew he'd got out right.
It says 5 minute break.
No, we're not. It's going to be more than 5, I can assure you.
5 minutes. 10 at least.
I only tell you what they tell me.
but no, I think it's been an interesting hallmark of the Premier League, and it has to do with the fact that the hands are all seen and people talk about them, and everyone at their heart is a poker junkie. So there have been 3 or 4, maybe 5 hands throughout this Premier League that they've gone from group to group. People talk about them excitedly, and they talk about them in poker terms. It's so much fun. It's so interesting.
It really is, and that hand, it was unfortunate for me because you play the whole Premier League and then you have some guy drawing to runner, calling a check raise, drawing to runner to cost you your whole Premier League. But I think that I was kind of happy. I kind of made him do it, and so I was like, all right, I made him do it. There's nothing I can do.
There have been a couple hands like that. Fantastic. Duhamel says,
those are the kind of ones that I would go crazy with normally and go, oh my God, I'd see the, oh my God, I played so great for 4 heats. Finally got the guy trapped and he hits runner. That would normally drive me crazy, but I think you just have to live with the results and just try to